Hello and welcome to Glimmer of Genius. My name's Luke and on the line with me is Simon and Grant. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, thank you. Doing well.
There is plenty to talk about this week in the world of Magic the Gathering, with Amonkhet spoilers now being completely released. So we've got a couple of deck ideas to throw about and lots to talk about in the world of Amonkhet. But before we dive into that, Simon, what have you been up to this week in Magic?
Well, this week we've got a couple more Modern Master 3 drafts in. I was a bit surprised. I didn't think we were going to get many more in. Yeah, we got two in one day, which was lovely. Unfortunately, we went back populate again first time. But it was unfortunate. It was pack one, pick one, voice of resurgence. I sort of, I went all in on that. But then after that, I went blue-black more control, and that went really well. Actually, I quite enjoyed playing that. That was a lot of fun.
In the control deck, was there anything particularly spicy in it?
Wall of Frost behind pile. Just sit behind it, add behind it, drawing cards, and filtering out your counter spells and heal spells.
The small amount of drafting I've done, the Wall of Frost can be a complete nightmare to deal with.
Well, Wall of Denial's in F3, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're getting both of them, that's fun.
Wall of No.
Wall of No. Yeah.
Yeah, I was splashing red for a few burn spells, but also the Spectre. 3/2, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they have to discard a card.
Oh,
I think it's got an Earth as well.
nice.
So holding the ground with the walls and then just swinging in with those was great, and killing anything that blocked it, putting my opponent to a real disadvantage.
Yeah, that sounds pretty unpleasant, Simon. I'm not going to lie.
It was a fun day.
Yeah. Grant, what about you?
Playing a bit standard and running my sort of Rakdos aggro deck, and basically it's built around the idea that I think that anything with CMC 5 or any kind of evasion is really strong at the moment. So it's got Scrappy Scroungers like most decks at the moment, but then also Reality Smashers, and they seem just very, very good because combined with Ruins Aura and Reef, where you can put like extra counter on it and stuff, just it can't be fatal pushed, and even like unlicensed integration has to discard extra cards, and it's just been really solid because I kind of had the choice of either playing Copycat or playing Mardu, and rather than joining them, I decided to just go for something that isn't technically good, but it's just good against both decks, and this deck seems to be the one that I want. But mostly playing Modern, actually. There's been a couple of Modern events this week I've gone to, and playing Living End.
Yeah.
I did want to play Living End for quite a while, and I think the kind of catalyst for me actually getting it together was seeing that there was some Amonkhet cycling cards. Obviously, this was a while ago, but they've probably spiked up a bit now that proper, all the spoilers are out. But I've just sort of bought all the playsets of the commons and uncommons just in case they spiked up again.
Nice.
And it's been really solid. Living End has only lost. I went 2-0 apart from my last match. So it was like against, the top person when we did 4 rounds on Friday. And basically, because no one's playing counter spells, Living End is just in a very, very strong position. Yeah. And there's loads of opponents, just even if they've been playing Modern for ages, against one of our regulars who has been playing Merfolk for years, and he knows what Living End is, obviously, but he's never played against it before. So again, although it's not one of my crazy weird decks, it's still a fringe deck that some people aren't prepared for.
Yeah. And
I know people are uncertain if Graph Digger's Cage was going to do anything. It's always funny when people sideboard that in and realise that it doesn't work because the exile art of Living End. Yeah, so really enjoyed Living End. And as we'll probably come on to with the spoilers, there's about 3 or 4 cycling cards that I'm probably going to get. I mean, most of them actually, to be fair, are commons and uncommons, but they're going to go straight in Living End. So I'm having a real good time Living End right now. I think unless the meta changes back to blue in any way, I'm going to stick with that for a while now, I think.
Counterspells are the worst sort of thing that you have to deal with, really, obviously outside of Grave Hate. But I don't know if your version's playing Beast Within or not.
Yeah, his main deck.
Yeah. Generally speaking, running for Beast Within and then sideboarding into other ways to get rid of things like Rest in Peace and what have you. It's not completely game over, but yeah, counterspells can be a problem. So
any blue at all. So
nice.
Added my must counterspells. So yeah, I'm loving it right now.
Yeah, I managed to get a few games myself, strangely enough, and we've been mainly just sort of play testing, but we were play testing against Grixis Control, and it was really interesting because obviously you had to play around Counter Squall most of the time, so he has that in the main deck, some amount of counter spells, whether it's Mana Leak or whatever in the main, but you have to kind of respect them, and a lot of the games would depend on me powering out turn 2 Fulminator Mages or Beast Withins to shut my opponent off of blue so that I could just Living End without having to worry about anything that they did.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And there were some weird games. Against Grixis in particular, you have to really be careful about your life total. You wouldn't have necessarily thought about it straight away, but because they've got Bolt, Snap, Bolt. And yeah, Counter Squall and even just a Tasiga at the wrong time can just be a bit of a problem. Yeah. Because he had a moment where turn 1 I fetched for a Shockland thinking my life total isn't going to be as important as if I was playing an aggro deck, and then I lost to the play of Bolt Snap Bolt when the next turn I was going to swing for lethal damage with a Living End. So it's crazy how actually you can lose life against that Grixis control deck. It can change gears quite quickly.
Yeah, it's interesting because like when I put together, or when I was thinking about putting together Living End, I thought it was going to be quite linear, but I've found some, particularly against kind of the unusual decks or decks like that, I found some really interesting interactions, and it has been quite fun to play against, particularly like really weird interactions with just text that normally isn't relevant on the cards, like Architects rearranging their library, or Jungle, whatever it's called, Recluse, I think, with the one with Reach, and being able to block like Inkmoth Nexuses just is, it's actually quite an interesting deck to play against, even though it seems quite linear.
Absolutely. More times than one. Dreadshot Minotaur doing 3 damage, very relevant.
Yeah, it's good.
Beyond that, mainly played standard FNM. I was, again, resistant to just playing Mardu vehicles and Copycat. I built this horrendous Delirium discard deck. I went 2-1 with it. I don't really know how I won any games. But yeah, my deck is essentially discard and removal spells, and then a couple of creatures just to get back with Liliana and Grapple with the Past and traverse the even world. So you just stall out the game to a point where you've got enough mana to cast Ishkanal or something else big.
I think Ishkanal's still in like a really good place right now. No one seems to be playing it, but I think she's still in a really good place.
I think so, especially against cards like World of Virtuoso in 4-colour.
It blocks like Heart of Crown and every other flyer, and then also can't be fatal pushed. I think she's just in a really good slot, but no one seems to be playing it.
Yeah, I think she'll be seeing more play than she is. I mean, like you say, it matches up very well against a lot of the decks. And the only deck I lost against was 4-colour Copycat, and it's it's frustrating how many lines that deck has. And yeah, so I cast Lost Legacy, and when I cast it in game 2, I didn't even name the Copycat combo. I just named Deep Fiend because I was sitting there thinking, well, what's going to ruin me at this moment in time the most? And Deep Fiend at that point was the one that would hurt me the most. I actually managed to get a copy that was in his hand, which was quite nice. But with all the creatures and the combo, you just sit there and you think, well, I can't tap out because of the combo. I need to have effective blockers because of these flying tokens, and it's just madness. Yeah, and then even if they just play their Felidar Guardian, they're just blinking stuff which is really good, like World of Virtuoso or Rogue Refiner. So yeah, it's really hard to actually effectively come up with a decent strategy to beat that deck. But yeah, that was my FNM. I don't know if I'll play the janky Delirium stuff. I'm more excited for what's coming out, Amonkhet. So
I'm waiting for. Let's talk about current standard. Let's go.
In that case then, Simon, as you're so keen to start, I'll just stop the recording and then we'll dive into Amonkhet spoilers led by you.
No, I set myself up there, didn't I?
Yeah. So then, Simon, as you are so keen to be talking about these Amonkhet spoilers, what are your initial thoughts?
Okay, so very impressed with the whole thematics of it all. Zombies are back, which of course I'm a huge fan of, and you got some white zombies in there. Got the gods. So we originally had gods back in Theros, and I really liked that. The whole theme of I can't remember what it's called now. Devotion. I thought that was a great mechanic. Fortunately, these new gods are different, which is fine. And I guess that's from a playability perspective. When we had the original ones, it sort of made the decks very linear. It wanted you to be monocoloured.
Yeah.
So standard players, that's very limiting. I guess boring a lot. You want to play multiple colours to get more powerful spells into your deck. So I guess that's why they've changed it this time round. And they are good. They're still very strong. I think the green one is definitely the best, or the easiest to activate anyway. What's his name?
Ronas the Indomitable.
So all have indestructibility and some other feature relevant to their colour. Green one has Death Touch. So the green one is can only attack or block control creature with power 4 or greater.
Yeah.
But its activating ability is 2 colours, 1 green. Another target creature gets +2/+0 against trample to end a turn. Yeah. So it's quite easy to get a creature on the board with power 4, even if you don't pump it to make it big enough for your god to attack or block. What's interesting is, compare these gods to the previous gods, is that they were only considered creatures if you reach the whatever criteria was, so the level of devotion. I mean, if they were in combat, attack and block, you could cause a trick or kill one of their creatures in response, and therefore the god was no longer a creature and therefore no longer attacking or blocking. This way, though, they're always considered creatures. They can only attack or block unless the criteria is met. So if you declare attack with them and then they no longer have a creature that's power 4 or greater, is it still attacking?
Yes,
I assume so. Yeah.
The only thing to interact with is the same as vehicles. You'd have to do stuff before combat, just more of that basically.
Yes, that's stuck out as a unique difference between them.
Which incidentally, you can use them for crewing vehicles. So.
Yes, because it's a creature at all times. Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, but it's so obvious. I reckon they've done this change for simplicity, though. I don't know how you guys feel, but
yeah, I agree.
I think they've probably learned from the Theros gods, which weren't necessarily bad, but what you were saying, Simon, about the devotion or needing devotion to make them work. I seem to remember a lot of, in Theros Standard, complaints about, just more mono black or mono blue, it's not very interesting. And I think they've probably applied a bit of feedback to how they've gone about the design of these. I don't know if these would have been in the design whilst the Theros gods were in. I don't know how far ahead.
I like the thematics of the devotion, but it wasn't the greatest playability. I mean, as soon as they rotated out of Standard, well, not many of them saw much Standard play anyway. A few of them did, but as soon as they rotated out, I think is it the blue one? Only the blue one sees some sort of modern play.
Thassa.
Thassa,
yeah. And maybe a red-blue one, correct?
Yeah, and also Perforos can be used in some of the Soul Sister kind of decks, or the flickery creature card deck.
Did not know that one, but yeah, they're not really used for their like mono-coloured devotion ability to actually become. No, usually used. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I like them. But these ones are looking pretty cool. So the white one is double strike install. It is 4 mana, but you can only tackle block as you control 3 other creatures, and of course you spend 4 mana to create 1/1 white warrior tokens of vigilance, which seems good. That seems quite easy to do. You want to be playing creatures anyway, most decks. I like the black one, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's 3 mana menacing indestructible, but it can only attack or block unless a creature you control died this turn, which seems difficult. You usually want to kill a creature after you've attacked, because you want to get the benefit of the creature being on the battlefield in the first place. You can spend 2 mana to sacrifice a creature to scry 1. Oh, you get to scry 1 as well. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life, so drain and scry 1, which is good. But yeah, it seems like one of the more restricting ones to activate.
I think it depends on what deck you put in. Like, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but I'm planning on doing like a black-white zombie deck, and I think you're just going to be making so many creatures, and you're going to get other triggers from stuff dying or bringing stuff back after you've embalmed it or whatever. I think Bonsu is actually going to be quite easy to activate if you put it in the right deck. So I think it's good.
From if it's a standard constructed deck, from a limited perspective, it's going to be tough. Yeah,
I still think it'll be good in limited, because obviously every time something of yours gets killed or what have you, you've got the ability to just sacrifice it. Like if your creatures become irrelevant, the scry will be really good.
I missed the scry. That is very good. Yeah, I just thought it was drain 1 life, which is good anyway, but the scry one would be very beneficial. But of course, the toughest ones to activate are going to be the blue and the red god. I'm not sure how I feel about the blue one. The red god seems good.
I don't think the red one's playable at the moment because of Grasp of Darkness.
It's only 4 toughness.
Yeah, so he just dies. So when that rotates out, then maybe, but at the moment, I don't think it's playable at all.
Hazoret the Fervent.
Or Pervert, if you read it off of the Invocation one.
Yeah, so Indestructible Haste, can't attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, and then 2 colours, 1 red, discard a card. Hazoret deals 2 damage to each opponent. So of course, with discard a card, we've got a lot of discard ability. What's the mechanic?
Madness.
Madness, yeah. Fits nicely into a deck like that. Of course, you're dealing 2 damage to an opponent, which red decks want to do anyway. And they often have less cards in hand because they cast their spells quicker because they're cheaper. But yeah, still, only having 1 or fewer is a tough. Late game, it means it's probably active at all times, but to actually trigger it deliberately at the start game is going to be a bit difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely more of a late game card because of the heavy mana investment anyway. But I think you're right that given the fact that it doesn't match up very well to Grasp, and the fact that you do have to kind of wait a little bit for this to become good, it's a bit of a problem. Because the fact that it's got haste, depending on how your turns 1 to 3 have gone, it might not even be relevant. So I have a feeling you're right. It's just going to kind of not really do much for a little while.
I think you're definitely right in that haste is the least interesting evergreen text on the cards. All the other ones are infinitely better.
Move on to the blue god, Kefnet the Mindful.
Yeah.
And it's flying, so that's great. It looks awesome as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot stronger. However, once again, the mechanic draw, because you can only attack a block if you have 7 or more cards in hand. Yeah. Especially when I'm playing standard or any sort of Magic, apart from Commander, I rarely have more than 7 cards.
It probably should have been 6. I think 7's a bit strong. But...
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already starting the game with 7 cards in hand. But then its ability is 3 colourless, 1 blue. Draw a card. You may then return a land you control to its own hand. So I guess you can return 2 cards to your hand straight away. I'm not much of a blue mage, as you know, but I don't think you ever want to return a land to your hand. You want your mana on the battlefield, ready to counter something.
Interrupt landfall?
Yeah, possibly.
I think it's one of those things where it's just incredibly win more. Like, if you're sitting there and you've got a 5/5 flyer and 7 cards in your hand, you've got to question why you haven't already won that game. or you're probably already winning that game if you manage to get that many cards in your hand. You don't need a card like Kefnet the Mindful, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, I just can't imagine the whole way blue decks are playing at the moment with Torrential Gearhult. You need a lot to give people a reason not to favour instants and sorceries more.
But if you can activate it, then it's going to be the best one, which is probably why it's the hardest to have a bit of balance.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just means you probably won't see play unless someone designs a deck specifically for having maximum cards in hand. I just don't think it fits into standards at all.
No.
So we've covered the gods. Next up will be obviously the Planeswalkers. So first up is Gideon of the Trials. So it's 1 colour, there's 2 white. Starts with 3 loyalty. First ability is +1. Until your next turn, prevent all damage target permanent would deal. Pretty good. So technically defends itself on the board. +0 is that all Gideon's normal ability becomes a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructibility, or not indestructibility, prevent all damage that would dealt to it. Normal Gideon. And finally, 0 loyalty. You get an emblem with as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, you can't lose the game, and your opponent can't win the game. Nice. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
The only redeeming feature this card has is that as a 4/4 it can be grafted up, a bit like Hazoret. That's the only thing I can find that I find acceptable about this card.
Yeah, I don't see why you'd ever bother making it a 4/4 unless your opponent's tapped out. You don't need to. As long as you've got the emblem, you're just, I can't lose.
I really don't like Planeswalkers that have an ultimate as well, and I don't think he would have got, I was going to say any worse, I don't think he would have got any more balanced if the ultimate had been like a minus ability, even if it's like a -1, -2. I don't like the fact he just keeps ticking up, but that's just me.
With a Planeswalker test, it's always how much mana do they cost, can they defend themselves, does the ultimate win the game? It costs a lot, it defends itself, but technically its ultimate doesn't win you the game, it just stops you from losing the game. So I guess technically it's a failure.
He's sort of being a bit jokey there, but it's scary at how good he is on all of those counts. I know that it's not winning the game, but in the decks that are going to play this are probably going to be some sort of grindy, controlly style deck, or even an aggro deck could enjoy playing this.
It's more as well, like, again, when stuff rotates, maybe it'd be a different conversation, but if this Planeswalker is alive, you can't lose the game, that's fine. But because there will be access to, is it 4 or 5 Gideons, technically? Because of the intro deck. They don't just have wall-to-wall Gideons. So basically, like the Cardboard Crack comic recently said, what kind of deck are you playing? Tribal Gideons. It's stupid. So I think maybe when the other ones rotate out, particularly Ally of Zendikar, this will be okay, but at the moment it just seems stupid.
I can just see the play being turn 2, Heart of Kieran.
Yeah.
Turn 3, Gideon. Get your emblem, and then crew your Heart of Kieran either to attack or defend, or both if you want. Attack and then defend. It's got vigilance. Turn 4, Gideon Ally of Zendikar. After you've done something with Gideon the second turn, and then I've still got Gideon on the board. I can't lose the game, and I'll make 2/2s.
The thing is as well with that play, because that's like optimum. You can attack with the heart in that situation. You can attack with the Heart of Karan after you play the Gideon. You can then also block with it, and he'll still be on 1 loyalty.
Yeah.
If this card started on 2, I think it'd be different, because then you wouldn't be able to do an attack and a defender and a not lose the game thing.
Yeah.
But technically, you could +1 him on turn 1, just give him extra loyalty, and then
I think.
You play bigger Gideon.
So I wouldn't mind that, because then the opponent has a chance to respond to kill it before you make an emblem that stops you losing the game. That I think would be fine. So if you started on 2, it would force you to do that if you wanted to play that aggressively, and I think that's fine. But the fact it's 3 mana, 3 and 0s, I don't like it.
Yeah. I think most of the time as well, depends what you're doing, but I mean, if you're playing it in the vehicle deck, Heart of Kieran into Gideon and then upticking it would probably be better than just doing the 0, because if you're upticking it and they've got any creature in play, or a Heart of Kieran themselves, because it's prevent all damage a target permanent would deal, then you basically play your Heart of Kieran, nullify their Heart of Kieran, and then you just start smashing. And then their next attack phase, they haven't got anything that can actually interact with Gideon favourably, and they can't block with their Heart of Kieran. You've stopped it from doing damage, so it's actually really quite obnoxious.
The card's broken, and I liked it how a lot of people started selling off their Gideon's Ally Zendikar just because, 6 months after rotation, people say, even though it's a really powerful cards that people are selling off, this new one's spoil, and people are saying the games like, this is a better Gideon. But I think this works well together anyway.
Yeah, they have to.
That's why you wouldn't just play both.
It makes the other Gideon better. It makes Gideon Ally even better than it was already.
Yep.
So I look forward to that price spike.
I think Luke's got the best summary there. How would you describe this card? Obnoxious. I think that is the best summary.
Yeah.
What's the combo you guys were talking about with that new red card?
Rich End.
It's a turn.
Yeah, so Glorious End is end the turn, so it means that, like, obviously your opponent will get to untap and stuff, but you can basically stop them from doing anything in their turn, or if they've got something troublesome, like, I don't know, cast triggers, like Deep Fiends even, it just stops that from happening. But at the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game. And obviously, if you're going to kill the opponent anyway, that's not a problem, but if you do lose the game, but you've got that Gideon in play, and you happen to still have a Gideon, then that card is basically just your opponent skips their next turn, effectively. So, yeah. Pretty good.
Winds of Rebuke will be a sideboard staple.
Yeah.
For any blue deck, just in case.
Yeah.
It's a weird card, that Glorious End. It looks cool. Very strange. Yeah. I kind of want to make a deck with it, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
There was the modern deck that ran, I can't remember, is it Sundial of the Infinite? It's another artifact from ages ago that ends the turn and gets rid of stuff on the stack.
Yeah.
But there was a modern deck that obviously ran stuff like the Pact, and it had like Ice Saint Draft and loads of stuff that like at end of turn do something, or upkeep does something, and basically you responded by using this end the turn ability, and like you got to keep the angel that Ice Saint Draft made, you got to like not lose the game, you got to keep stuff free because basically it exiled that ability. So that's quite cool. That's quite a sort of janky thing to do with end the turn stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so that's Gideon. Move on to the next one, which is Liliana, Death's Majesty.
I really like her.
Yeah, my commander deck is Zombie Tribal, so she's going straight in basically. Card I really like: 3 colourless, 2 black, 5 starting loyalty, +1 create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Awesome, and it's zombies that don't come into play tapped. A lot of these cards in this set are zombies that don't come into play tapped, which is great. It's one of the biggest things my modern deck starts with is everything comes into play. Stupid zombies, but these are better, quicker zombies. -3, return type creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colours and types. That second bit's probably irrelevant for my commander deck. It would be great if it was a return target creature from any graveyard. I really like that card. Obviously, a bit too broken. And then its ultimate, -7, destroy all non-zombie creatures, which just gravy for me. You need Wraths in commander, and it's nice to have it attached to a Planeswalker instead of just a sorcery spell. 5 mana, is it too expensive for standard?
No, I don't think at all. I think it's balanced as where it is, because given I can't remember the name of the card, there's been loads of editions of it, but the whole 5 mana get a creature from your graveyard back into the battlefield, that costs 5 mana, so even if you play her you -3 and then she dies, it's still worth her cost. Her loyalty's about right, and she's got some powerful abilities, but I think again she's about where she should be, so I think she's good in the kind of deck you want to play her in, because again you'd probably play this in some sort of delirium deck, wouldn't you? She costs the same as Ishkanar. I think it's fine.
Luke, you got any feelings on her?
She would be perfect in a delirium style deck, and I think Grant's sort of hit the nail on the head. The whole bringing something back, I think, needs to sit around that kind of casting cost of 5 mana, or around 5 mana. Yeah, I think it's perfect. And I didn't really realise the not coming into play tapped on the zombies as well, which is quite cool.
Yeah, so I'll just move on now because they're all actually, I've got MTG Salvation, and they're all 3 in a row of my 3 new favourite cards from this set. So you've got Liliana, and then you've got Liliana's Mastery, which is a 3 colourless, 2 black enchantment. Zombies you control get +1/+1. When it enters the battlefield, you create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Untapped zombies as well, so
yeah,
lovely. And then after that is Lord of the Accursed. 2 colours, 1 black. It's a new zombie lord. Other zombie creatures get +1/+1, but also you can tap it for 1 colour, 1 black. All zombies gain menace until end of turn. So all 3 of them I'll be looking to pick up on pre-release weekend to go straight into the deck.
Yeah, they are pretty solid. One thing I like about the zombie glorious anthem effect is the fact that you actually get creatures with it as well. You don't normally see that. Normally you just get the enchantment which pumps your stuff, and that's that. So it's really quite cool that I suppose it makes sense that you're getting something more because it is 5 mana, but it's still nice.
Well, you're getting 6 power on the board for 5 mana, so that's good. Very good.
Also, one I want to talk about, which probably won't go with the zombie deck, but it will deal with mine because I'll be sacrificing the zombies to the god probably, is Bone Picker, that weird little vulture that popped up.
Oh, that's my pick of the set.
Yeah, costs 4 for a 3/2 flying death touch, but only costs 1 black if something has died. Awesome.
Yes, I can see that being modern playable. I'm in my modern deck, my modern zombies deck. I know my modern deck's not very good, but I can see that going turn 1 you can play like Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek, turn 2 Fatal Push their creature, and then play Bone Picker.
Yep.
I just like the theme of it as well. Bone Picker, and it's flying with Death Touch. I just wish it was a zombie bird. But yeah, no, I think that's an awesome card. I really like it. I can see it seeing play. I think it's a sleeper. We'll see play.
it's like things we've seen before. Any kind of cost reduction, as a rule of thumb, is generally quite powerful. I mean, I know it's not Phyrexian mana, but it's still a cost reduction. So I agree. It wouldn't surprise me if it was creeping into decks here and there.
I think there's a busted uncommon in each colour in this set, actually. The red is a 4/3 2-mana discard a card when it comes into play?
Yeah, I saw that. Bloodbraid Brawler. Yeah, 2 mana, 4/3, Minotaur Warrior, enters the battlefield, you have to discard a card. So it's not a may, it's just you have to. But
busted. But it's only a have to if you have a card in hand, isn't it? There's no if you can't discard a card.
Yeah, because it enters the battlefield trigger. So it triggers triggers when it enters the battlefield. If you can discard a card, you discard a card. If you can't, then whatever.
I mean, you probably have a card in hand. Man. But 4/3, and the green one is quite a powerful green one as well.
Manglehorn, the one that shuts down the copycat combo, he's quite nice.
Yeah, there's just a lot of big, powerful green creatures actually. Can't remember the 2-mana one.
Oh, the 2-mana 4/4 Exemplar Strength. When it comes in, you have to put the -1/-1 counters on something.
That's it.
But when it attacks, you can remove 1/1 counters from it if it has got them, and you gain 1 life every time you do.
Yeah, so I like these. We'll probably get to that when we get to green, actually. No, I'll talk about it now. So green has a lot of big creatures with -1/-1 counters when they come into play. The other colours have it as well. Cards have other colours. It doesn't have to be them. And we have a format where we still have Eldrazi Scions for 6 months. Yep. So you could target them with the -1 counters and then sack them anyway for a mana, and you get a huge 4/4 for 2 mana with a mana spare floating. I can't wait to see how these play out. It's going to be big fatties rampaging over everything. Green's one of my favourite colours, but it's usually the least powerful. Quite often the least powerful, especially in a draft environment. But these guys just go above the normal curve. Have you seen the Hippo?
Yeah.
Defiant Greatmaw, 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield, it's 4/5. When it enters the battlefield, with 2 -1 counters on target creature you control. So it doesn't have to be the Defiant Greatmaw. You can do it on an Eldrazi Scion, as we just said. But if you do, whenever you put 1 or more -1 counters on Defiant Greatmaw, remove the -1 counter from another target creature you control.
This is wonderful.
It looks awesome. But probably not stand play. But a good draft environment with all these -1 counters going on. He's going to be awesome. Oh, and even if you don't, you can choose not to put -1 counters on him if you don't want to. And he'll still be a beast. Talking about -1 counters, have any of you seen what's happened to Malaria, the Outcast, lately?
Are you talking about her prize?
Yes.
No, she's spiked.
She's a 2-mana green creature. I think it's from New Frontier or Mirrodin Besiege. So basically, your creatures can't have -1 counters placed on them, and you can't get poison counters. So she's gone from like a £2 rare to an £8 rare since this set's been spoiled.
What, in anticipation of maybe these cards being modern playable, or?
Some of them are really powerful, but the downside is -1 counters on your creatures. If your creatures can't have -1 counters, then there is no downside to getting 2-mana 3/4s or 4/5s.
Yeah, I suppose, like, say if you had that Exemplar Strength card, that Malaria, you Coco into both of them, you'd get a 4/4 Malaria. Like, that's fine, I guess. I think she probably will settle down. I don't know. She probably won't stay at that high, I don't reckon.
Because she's got the added benefit of being a cyber card for effect, so it's just gravy on top. What these cards do not play well with is Winding Constrictor. Because then, of course, all your creatures will get double the -1 counters.
Die, snack, die.
So, yeah, don't do that. Back on the Planeswalkers. Nissa.
Love it.
Really, really excited for this, because it has X mana in its mana cost. So it's a blue-green X, and that's how many loyalty counters it comes onto the battlefield with. That's brand new. I really like that. The rest of the card is +2, scry 2. 0 mana, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to Nissa's loyalty counters, you may put that card onto the battlefield. That's beautiful, isn't it?
That is quite cool.
And then final, ultimate -6. Untap up to 2 target lands you control. They become 5/5 elemental token creatures. With flying and haste...
Yeah.
Still lands. I'd say she's a very good Planeswalker. It doesn't really matter about her cost, does it? Because she fits anywhere on the curve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scry, I guess she doesn't defend herself. Well, I guess it depends what you hit on the 0 ability, though, isn't it?
On turn 3, she doesn't defend herself very much, because if you're doing the 0, you're only going to get a creature if you're lucky.
But I'm not going to say block.
Yeah.
But I guess she does have a +2 ability, which is nice.
Yeah.
+2s always seem strong.
+2 is good. Scry 2 is really nice with the second ability as well. It might be an obvious thing to say, but if you got it out and then you Scry 2, you basically set up for next turn.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
I'd muck that up and put the card I want on top and then accidentally draw it next turn. So all 3 Planeswalkers, I think really good. I think Lily the weakest out of the 3, Gideon the best, Nissa has a lot of potential. We'll have to see what happens with her. But the one, saying Liliana is the worst out of 3, the one I'm most excited about is Lily, which means Wizards is doing something right, isn't it? It's good design. So that's God's done. I'm leading the whole charge on this, aren't I?
Well, yeah. What do you want to talk about next?
That would be the new lands, won't it?
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah.
Also known as bicycle lands, apparently.
Why? Oh, right, okay.
Bicycle lands, 2 colours and cycle. Bicycle.
I like that.
Yeah.
Go with that.
I liked it when I heard it. I'm sticking with it. So these, of course, will be standard staples. I don't think we really need to discuss too much the benefits of them. They're mana fixing, and if you've got too much mana, you can cycle them if you need to.
Don't forget they're also basic land types. Well, not basic land types, but they...
Yes, of course. So you can fetch them in Modern. Well, are they good enough for Modern?
Maybe in the right deck.
I've heard... What did I hear? Red-green is the most likely one for Modern. I can't remember the reason why.
It's a deck that you don't need too much land for, like Living End we were talking about earlier. Maybe, I guess.
I don't think I want this in Living End.
I don't think I would either, but I'm thinking...
Scape Shifts? Is it Scape Shift decks?
Scape Shift could, yeah. Because
that's why the red-green one is better.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I switch off after that. All I get told is which one I should be buying. I drift off when I get the reason why.
I think Modern's a bit too quick, I think, in general, for a tap land. But they are interesting enough and do different things enough that they could appear, maybe. But I think as a rule of thumb, too slow.
They're going every commander deck.
Yeah.
If you're playing those colours, you'll want that. So commander players will be grabbing those. Well, we had Return of Deserts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorely missed Desert.
I know. I'm not quite sure what they're supposed to be doing. If they're just thematic, they don't seem to have any sort of relevance to other cards that I've seen. Have I missed anything? Is there anything that gets better if you have deserts in play?
Maybe the next set?
Maybe the next set. Yeah.
There's something that allows you, I can't remember what it is now, but there's something that allows you to search for a desert. I think there's a creature or some card.
Do any of the camels interact with them? Because if not, they're missing a trick, I think.
Oh, maybe it is the camel.
I think one of the camels do interact, yes.
Yeah, you can fetch for a desert, so that's exciting. But I think the best one, I think, is Cradle of the Accursed, which you could actually put in a deck as a one, maybe two of, because it has the ability to add wastes or colourless mana to your mana pool. Yeah, and then 3 tap Sacrifice Cradle of the Accursed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. But much like what you said before, Simon, with a lot of these zombie things, it doesn't come into play tapped. So
no. I don't know what they feed their zombies on. Okay, it's great.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to hate it, but I really like Cascading Cataracts, the one that you put in 5 mana and get out whatever you want, and it's indestructible. I really like it.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a rare land. It's good for like Sunburst decks and
mana fixing.
Probably. Yeah, it's fine.
Be good in Commander as well.
Yeah, actually, because it doesn't specifically say what colours, so actually that's fine. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, play against those people that insist on destroying everyone's land. I mean, this helps against that.
Yeah.
I think it's a fine card.
I guess the best thing about the deserts is that they're new lands that tap for specifically colourless mana. So of course they may help when playing Eldrazi. I mean, it's nice to be able to make a zombie if you need to as an extra creature. But I think a lot of the land Eldrazi decks play also make coloured mana as well for certain benefits. I don't think having just a colourless land without a strong enough benefit will really make a difference there.
No,
right.
Okay, where do you guys want to look at next?
I think the split cards, what are they called?
Aftermath, I suppose, is the mechanic on them, so you can call them those.
Yeah, let's go with that. We knew about the Dusk one, Dusk Till Dawn.
Yep.
I think they're all called something and then 2 something. I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Dusk to Dawn, which was the 4 mana sorcery, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. Aftermath, return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your grave to your hand. Which, as we said before, is a bit of a weird one. The abilities don't necessarily match, but the 4 mana Wrath is definitely interesting. Or destroy everything at 3 or above. So that's quite cool, but that's been spoiled for a while. The one that I particularly liked was the Never to Return. Again, kind of going on the zombie theme. But destroying target creature or planeswalker for 3 mana, which is on a par with Ruler's Path, so it's quite nice. Yeah. Even though we're seeing more rare removal, it's nice that we're kind of seeing essentially more versions of it to kind of help keep that cost down of that particular card. Not that it's overly expensive anyway, but I know that some players get a bit irked with seeing very decent removal at rare slot quite a lot, so that's quite nice. But more importantly, the reason I like it is the return part. So Aftermath, exile target card from the graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So untapped, yeah. Yeah.
More importantly, we're missing the most important Aftermath card, and that is Mouth to Feed, the one that makes Hippos.
Yeah, was it 3 mana to make a 3/3 Hippo?
And then 4, you draw a card for each power 3 or greater creature you control.
Should be for each Hippo you control.
Yeah, Hippo Tribal. Heaven to Earth I quite like. The one that, the big meteorite that hits birds on the way down and kills everything else when it smashes down.
I really like that, mainly because it's usually with those sort of cards where it's destroy a creature of flying and you get stuck with your opponent just having non-flying creatures and you just have this stuck in hand.
Yeah.
This way, it's just you can get rid of it for just 1 green mana, pay X risk convert to mana, and just spin it, and then on the same turn or the next turn, use the other side of the ability to use Earth to deal X damage to each creature without flying. I think that's very good.
Also, one that you guys might have missed, it's an uncommon called Gate to the Afterlife. You might have to scroll for it now. Uncommon, a bit like the last one was, I think, was in Fate Reforged, when it was a guy referencing card names that hadn't come out yet. So whenever a non-type creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. Then you can draw a card and discard. 2, sacrifice it, search your graveyard, hand, and or library for a card named God Pharaoh's Gift, which doesn't exist yet, and put it to the battlefield. So you can only do that if you have 6 or more creature cards in your graveyard. I'm thinking this is going to probably be an equipment, and probably very similar to Godsend from Theros, if you remember that one.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be some big busted equipment, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to that coming out, because I always like it when cards have, foreshadowing to the next set kind of thing.
Yeah, actually, being an artifact or maybe an enchantment if it's a god's gift being bestowed onto a certain creature.
Right. I mean, Godsend was both, so yeah, it's probably one or the other.
Yeah, all right.
And then, of course, we got Nicol Bolas will be in the next set now. And obviously, that card that was in Aether Revolt, which affects Nicol Bolas Planeswalker cards, obviously that's foreshadowing to that as well. Yeah. So, yeah, the next set should have some interesting stuff in, I think.
Yeah, I can't wait for Nicol Bolas.
Because presumably as well, if any of you guys are reading stories, because I've made sure I keep up to date now with them, you've got the rest of the Planeswalkers as well. Because we've had this, we've had Lily, we have Gideon. And on this plane as well, we've got Chandra and Jace still as well.
Yeah.
So unless they go away when Nicol Bolas mysteriously appears or doesn't, I don't know, in the second set, then it will be Nicol Bolas, Jace, and Chandra at least for the next set. So that should be interesting.
Yeah. On the artifacts, I don't know if we discussed this last one or not, the Throne of the God Pharaoh.
Oh yeah, I think that works really well with the zombies.
It says 2 mana, 2 colours mana, legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures you control.
Yeah. In some
so that's pretty busted in the aggro deck.
Yeah, so if you're playing like an aggro deck, you just put that on top and, okay, cool, they've just lost like 6 damage to just combat damage.
Yeah.
Then you put that in play as well, and they just lose like an extra 3 or 4 life. That's, super good.
Mm-hmm. And we've also got still in stand Fabricate to create your little 1/1 guys and improvise. So you can tap them to tap your artifacts to make generic mana to cast other spells. I can't remember if there were any good spells with improvise on them. Yeah, so there's ways of tapping creatures without even having to get them into combat at the moment. Yeah, it's a strong card.
And we talked about Samut, Voice of Dissent, the card with the most text I've seen on a card in quite a while. She's a legendary woman. In the story, she's the one that shouts about the gods being false and stuff, but she's a 3 colourless, red and green. She's a 3/4 with, I have to take a large intake of breath now to read it all. She has Flash, Double Strike, Vigilance, Haste, other creatures you control have Haste, white tap to untap another target creature.
Well,
that's crazy.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with that.
That's the most free text I've seen on a card in quite a while. And I've never seen Flash and Haste, so that's a bit strange.
Oh, yeah.
That is.
But yeah, so she's a bit weird. I think she will get played, but a bit weird.
5 mana.
There's also the Kenra Charioteer, just an uncommon. But it's got trample, and it gives other stuff trample. So I think aggro, or green-red specifically, seems like quite strong in this set as well.
I'm quite excited that they brought Minotaurs back as well.
Yeah, Minotaurs are cool.
We had Minotaurs back in Theros.
Yep, we did.
Unfortunately, they've never. Some people dabbled with them in Standard. Didn't really.
Yeah, there was that card, wasn't it, that made other Minotaurs cost 1 red and 1 black less? It was really weird.
Yeah.
Which was cool. Yeah.
I picked up a lot of the Minotaur lords and stuff. Just lords and tribal cards are always good picks. Just 'cause you never know when they're going to reprint something again. And all of a sudden it becomes a viable tribal deck. Minotaurs was a good one. People got quite excited for Dwarfs again in either Revolt and Kaladesh.
A couple of guys worth talking about prowess-wise. So there was was it Red and 1 for a 1/3 with prowess?
Yeah.
Seems quite good. And also, not quite prowess, but in terms of cheap red creatures that can be explosive. There's that one Flameblade Adept, 1 red for 1 with Menace, and whenever you cycle or discard a card against this one, so.
I was looking at it this morning, it's not Monastery Swiftspear, is it? That's the problem.
No, but you can combine it with stuff like Noose Constrictor and just bin your entire hand and do some silly damage. So yeah, it's some interesting stuff for making it explosive.
Since we're on the good red cards, and Luke is the professional burn player, what do you think of Harsh Mentor?
I think he's great. He's a 2-mana 2/2, and his flavor text is Fight Through It, which I think is quite funny. And basically it says, whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player.
Boom.
So the reason I like him is against vehicle decks, it just gives you a little bit of incidental damage. It's a shame that doesn't affect Planeswalkers, but...
True, but you can redirect the damage to Planeswalkers, so that's always useful.
Yeah, so only being a 2/2 is a bit so-so, but the fact that you've got this little bits of damage, which is sometimes what you really need just to kind of make your attacks that much better. Because obviously you want to be aggressive, you want to be attacking into sometimes unfavourable combats just to force through damage, and Harsh Mentor really helps with that.
I just see it as another Eidolon. Like, Eidolon the Great Revel. It just punishes your opponent for doing stuff, and as long as you just keep swinging at them, you're going to get there one way or the other, I think.
Exactly.
I've heard both sides of this card. I've heard people shouting from the rooftops that it's the red 2-drop equivalent to Tarmogoyf Snapcaster Dark Confident that red's been missing all this time, that young Pyromancer never lived up to, and that it'll be seen play in every format.
Wow.
From standard, modern, maybe older, I'm not sure, to other more. They're normally more experienced red modern players. Burn modern players go, no, it's a sideboard card only, just because it's not guaranteed damage. You're sideboarding against a lot of the decks, but it's optional for your opponent to trigger it. They don't have to activate their ability if they don't want to. They don't have to fetch their land if they don't want to. Now, of course, most of the time they do, but at the end of the day, it's down to them. And it's unlike a card like Lava Spike, which is guaranteed damage, or Lightning Bolt, which is guaranteed damage. This is a maybe. And in the mono burn deck, every card needs to guarantee to deal damage. Even Eidolon is okay. They can try and play around it, but if they're not playing their 3-mana spells, you've won the game. That's the argument I've heard for and against.
I totally get that.
I don't play enough modern to really have an opinion. Well, I guess I do have an opinion. Everyone can have an opinion. I'm leaning more on the sideboard side than the main deck.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think I'm going to try them out in the main. I don't think it's necessarily correct to want to sideboard something like this in. The reason being is, what decks would it be good against? It would potentially be good against something like Affinity, because they have a lot of abilities like Springleaf Drum and Cranial Plating that they want to activate, as well as their man lands. So you think, okay, I'll bring it in against Affinity. But, okay, they took a few points of damage, activate Cranial Plating, but if they've activated that Cranial Plating on that Vault Scourge, and then they're hitting you for 6 lifelink, who cares? You want to be bringing in cards that, in the sideboard for burn, that either stop your opponent from gaining life, or destroy all their artifacts, or do something that affects their game plan, so like Grave Hate. So like really kind of specific answers. And I don't think playing a bear that might do a bit of extra damage is what you want from a sideboard card. I think it's definitely worthwhile, though, considering him in the main for now. It might not be good enough. I'm not going to say that he is good enough, but it might not be good enough. But I think when you consider fetch lands and the stuff in Affinity, and even things like in Tron that they're doing with their artifacts that search up lands, things like that, a lot of decks have a surprising amount of abilities. So I think, there is the argument that you might not get use out of it. But you could say that of a Goblin Guide. The amount of times I've cast a Goblin Guide, obviously not on turn 1, but later in the game, even sometimes on turn 2, I attack with it, they've got a land off of the trigger, and then it just gets bolted. I mean, you could argue that's much worse than a Harsh Mentor, because I gave them a card, and basically I just gave them a card for nothing, and I didn't get to do any damage with it. Harsh Mentor, you might eat your removal spell as soon as it comes down, but that's affected potentially the way that they've played. They might not have wanted to do that. They might have wanted to activate an ability.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like you want your sideboard cards to do something significant in a certain matchup, and I think Harsh Mentor hits enough decks that you probably want it in the main, and you don't want to be thinking, right, I mean, if you're playing against I don't know, let's say Jund, would you really want to sideboard into Harsh Mentor? I don't think that you would. You'd probably want more removal spells for their cards like Tarmogoyf or Death Shadow.
Yeah.
I mean, they cast a Tarmogoyf and you cast a Harsh Mentor. They literally have to do nothing for the rest of that game. You know, your Harsh Mentor isn't necessarily going to do much except chump it.
If they're playing Jund, why don't they just kill your Harsh Mentor with all their removal?
Well, exactly. So would you really want to board into that? That's the point I'm making. Like,
but then you've lost out on that. At least with Eidolon, they would have taken the damage in order to kill your 2-drop.
well, I wouldn't drop Eidolon, not for this. I wouldn't say you'd drop it. I'm just saying it's worth testing out Mentor in some numbers and maybe in the main deck. I might, because at the moment I'm running a couple of Skullcracks to increase like the amount of hate towards life gain. I don't know if that's correct to be running additional Skullcracks in the main deck. So, just for the purpose of testing, I could easily cut out a couple of copies of Skullcrack for a couple of copies of this guy and see how it goes.
Also, we need to talk about any alternate win cards because they're always fun in the set, and that would be Approach of the Second Sun.
Oh, yes.
So, this is interesting for a rules idea as well. If Approach of the Second Sun was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell of the same name, you win the game. Otherwise, you put it 7th from the top in your library and you gain 7 life. So if you cast it first time and it gets countered, that counts still. It's only the second one that has to resolve, but obviously if they counter the first one, you just won't get it back into your library. But yeah, alternate win cards are always fun. Shame it's not a instance of, for torrential Gearhulk and stuff. I like alternate win cards.
Yeah, I can see someone trying this out. And by someone, I mean you. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, Head Alignment is actually possible now because of that secret salvage card in Ether Revolt, but even I'm just, it's not. It's not where you can win on turn 4, like, no, it's no point. We'll see. Also, just underneath as well it's reminding me, Glory Bound Initiate, the one that's a 3-1, and then if you exert it, it's a 4-4 with lifelink. Always Watching is probably going to get a rather large spike soon.
Yes,
because, it is. Just having stuff that exerts with no drawback seems pretty good.
Talking about some of the exert cards, I haven't seen many great ones to make standard play. A lot of them look fine for limited. They're fine for AR, and you may want to use the exert ability. It's very dependent on can you afford to exert them and not have them again the next turn as a creature. Basically, they're just out of the game for the next turn. The only one that I've got real potential for is the dragon. Mainly just because it comes in with haste, so you can use it straight away, and it has a kill spell attached to it.
Yeah.
4 mana 4/4 flyers for that kind of price are always good. That plus seems, people are saying if Stormwrath Dragon saw play, this is probably going to see play, and particularly with Always Watching as well. Yeah, I think it's going to be somewhere.
Yeah, apart from I haven't really, I might be wrong, I haven't seen any other exert cards that really stuck out. Oh no, there is one, the green one. It's a 3/3 Champion of Ronus. 3/3, 3 colours, 1 green. It's a rare. When it attacks, you may exert it. Put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That seems quite
That
good.
seems dumb.
Yeah, those are the ones that stuck out to me. For cards to look out for in white is Anointed Procession.
Yeah.
3 colours, 1 white. It's basically a Parallel Lies effect. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. So it'll be very cheap to start with. It's very similar to, of course, it's not as great as Doubling Season, because that does the same with tokens and counters, and that's like a $40, $50 card, or that's cheaper now. Best comparison is Parallel Lives, which I believe does the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's just green.
But in green, and that's currently a $7 card. So these will be cards you can pick up for quite cheap for the next round.
They probably won't be standard playable, but like Parallel Lives, they'll be commander all over the place. That's the only reason Parallel Lives is that expensive. I don't think this will see standard play, although the amount of tokens in the set is quite high because there was already quite a few token generation cards in Second Harvest. That sorcery didn't see any play at all. That'll just double the amount of tokens you currently have.
Yeah.
And I think Pan Harmonicon does a better job.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think this will see play, but maybe, I don't know, if you want to do some silly Embalm deck. Although, talking of Embalm, though, I really like the Avon one. It's like blue and white, I think it is, which is, where is it? Avon. So creature tokens, so not just like mummies or whatever. Creature tokens you can try Flying and Vigilance. Seems pretty strong. So it's a 4 mana 2/3 Flying Vigilance, so already as a 4 mana 2/3 Flying Vigilance, it's pretty good. And then giving all your tokens Flying and Vigilance, and you can also bring him back for 6 mana. So yeah, I'm liking the Embalm creatures.
That's
I agree.
sweet.
Yeah, the Embalm creatures seem good, and some of them we discussed it last week. They'll be very good depending on their enter the battlefield.
Yes.
And if come event, and I believe some of them do.
The Manticore, the heart piece of Manticore. When you enter the battlefield, you can sacrifice another creature. If you do, it deals damage equal to that creature's power to the creature or player.
Yeah,
so
I looking at this morning.
Combined with Fling and, stealing effects or Eldritch the Obligator or whatever, whether you're sacrificing your creatures or the opponent's creatures, even better, that seems pretty good. And you can embalm them for 6 and bring them back and do the same thing. So, yeah, seems good.
Yeah, I saw that. Probably not good enough for standard, I'm going to say.
Probably stealing stuff, because I was looking at a Mardu sort of deck which steals your opponent's creatures and then flings them or sacrifices them to the god of the dead, or even just Heartpiercer Manticore. It's like, if you want to do this with Eldritch Obligator, you need 9 mana. It's quite difficult. It's fun though, and if you get there, then it's great, and you can do a lot of damage. You probably get quite swingy points in the game, but you need a lot of mana.
The Obligator with Fling is a bit easier. I think that's probably doable.
Yeah.
That's quite fun.
People already know about this one. As Foretold, very powerful enchantment.
Yeah.
A lot of hype at the moment.
I'm not really sold by it, but...
Which one's this? Is this, do you get free stuff?
It's an enchantment, 2 colours, 1 blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on As Foretold. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of time counters on As Foretold. So people trying to pair it with suspend cards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. If you splash blue, you can cast Living End without having to worry about the other Cascade spell needing a target, which is a Demonic Dread spell, which you need a target to be able to cast that in the first place.
Yeah, you say that, but you'd have to have Living End in your hand. The strength of Cascade is you have to know where they are.
Yeah. I don't think... I was talking to people online about this. There's a forum about it on MTG Salvation, and I don't think splashing blue is worth this. It's definitely interesting, but yeah.
I think this is more interesting from an Ether Vial perspective. I don't think you'd play it in Modern, but in terms of Standard, just having ability where you plonk it down, it gets slowly bigger and you get to cast stuff for free, that seems fine. It's not quite an Ether Vial, but it's not as number dependent as Ether Vial either. So, and given that there's stuff like there's that camel that effectively proliferates, you can play around the counters, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it will be format breaking yet, particularly now that split cards have changed their rules. So.
Oh yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, which is good. I'm a bit sad because I really like the Brain in the Jar deck I did have, but yeah, it makes sense.
The card I saw the most hype with was As Foretold and Ancestral Visions.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I thought I'd mention it anyway.
No. I mean, that's a deck you would definitely want to put it in. I hadn't actually thought about that combination, but in terms of like other cards people are talking about combining it with, like Living End, I think that's a bit silly. Well, Ancestral Visions, that makes perfect sense.
That's what Ancestral Visions needed. More reason for people to hype about it.
Yeah.
And missing another reprint. Oh dear.
Then if you're paying 3 mana to draw 3 cards, like you might as well just run some other like actual normal drawing spell. Like cool if you're gonna get like 2 or 3 copies of Ancestral Visions of it, then it's probably worth it. But if you're playing blue, do you want to be doing this on turn 3?
Probably not.
Doing Ancestral Visions?
Probably not.
Doesn't blue usually want to draw 3 cards?
Blue does, but not at the cost.
3 mana. If you get 1 off of this, it probably doesn't seem worth it.
3 cards. Well, what's the stat? Divination is 3 mana for 2
Yeah.
cards. That's quite good. So 3 mana for 3 cards. But also, it's not just that. It's 3 mana for 3 cards, and then you get repeated effect.
I suppose. Yeah.
You can play this for 3 mana and draw 3 cards straight away because it's 0 mana, and then get extra benefits from it next turn.
In a roundabout way, though, you're not really getting 3 cards because you've already used a card in As Foretold. So you've on balance, it's almost exactly like you cast Divination in terms of how many cards you're up.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you then the next turn cast another Ancestral Vision.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
then you're 6 for 3.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell anyone yet until we've told all our copies.
It's an interesting mythic. I think it will have something, but I'm not massively scared of it in terms of Standard.
I thought it was a rare.
No, it's a mythic. One of the each one's a god, and then either a Planeswalker or some other spell. The Vizier of the Menagerie is very strange, which is a bit like, is it Garruk's something, where you can cast top cards like this.
Oh, we're skipping down the green now.
Garruk's something.
It's something called. I'm gonna look it up now.
People were comparing it as well to Courser Crucifix.
Oh yeah, that's similar.
Because you can look at the top card. I mean, it's definitely not a Courser Crucifix, but
Garruk's Horde. It's a creature where you can play the top card of your library if it's a creature. I like the little bit at the bottom there. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast creature spells.
Yes, I thought that was just for the top card of your library when I first read it, but it's not. It's for any creature spell.
Decent.
So you put whatever you want. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'd have to look up the gather rules for this, but because it says any type, not colour,
Wait.
you'd be able to Colourless, yeah.
Yes. So good, very good. And also, it's a snake man holding an owl, stroking a lion.
Yeah, what's not to like?
Yeah.
Just very quickly, I want to just talk about as well, because obviously people are going to be drafting this set and playing it in the sealed bit of pre-release and that. We have a couple of cycles in the colours that represent the flavour of the Amonkhet sort of trials. So you have the trial cards, and you've also got the cartouches. And these effects, basically, they give you something when they enter the battlefield, and then when a cartouche enters the battlefield, you then get to return the trials to their owner's hand. So basically little value enchantments. So the white one, for example, creatures you control get +2/+1 when the Trial of Solidarity enchantment enters the battlefield. It's a 3-mana white enchantment. And then when a cartouche enters the battlefield, return Trial of Solidarity to its owner's hand. And the cartouches are little, no more expensive than 3-mana enchantment auras that you attach to a creature. Generally speaking, auras aren't very good, but what's quite nice about the cartouches, again, looking at the white one, you do get a bit of value as well as the little aura itself. So Cartouche of Solidarity, 1 white, enchant creature you control. When Cartouche of Solidarity enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 warrior creature token with vigilance, and then your enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and first strike. So it's quite nice that they're giving you a little bit of value in these auras, which are normally bad cards because you can get 2 for 1 and you lose out. At least you're getting something out of them.
Yeah, it's Wizards' new. Yeah, they try and do this every time to make enchantments better than they are or seem better. It'll be fun to do in limited, get extra bonuses off them.
I think the black one's the best though. The Trial of Ambition, not the cartouche, but the black trial. You're absolutely right. I think these are definitely limited cards, but it's just worth noting that the cartouches aren't great. But if you do have a trial, so like the Trial of Ambition one is a 2-mana black enchantment. When Trial of Ambition enters the battlefield, target opponent sacrifices a creature, and then when you cast a cartouche, you can return Trial of Ambition to its owner's hand.
That is good.
Which is nice. And then if you look at the black cartouche, it's a 3-mana aura, which allows you to put a -1/-1 counter on a target creature and gives whatever creature you've put it on +1/+1 and lifelink. So you're not really fussed about buffing your creature, but the combination of play the trial and they get to sacrifice a creature, and then you can return that to then do that again after you've given something else a -1/-1 counter with a cartouche. The red one also does some damage as well. When Trial of Zeal enters the battlefield, deal 3 damage to target creature or player. So there's some. I think the trials are better than the cartouches. I think if you imagine yourself in a draft, picking up a late cartouche is not necessarily going to be the worst thing in the world if you know you've got a trial to synergize with it.
Oh, and it doesn't have to be the same colour.
No,
either, does it?
No, it doesn't. Which is great.
Just as an art point of view, they all fit together as well.
Do they?
Yeah. Not like literally if you were to put the cards side by side, but if you look at the top and bottom of them, like the white ones at the top and the red ones at the bottom, I believe. So if you look at the green one, above the green one is the feet of the birds from the blue one. You can stack them up if you were to cut them out, for instance. Someone did like a Photoshop job, but it doesn't do it card-wise, but from a shape-wise, they do fit together.
That's cool.
Okay, so this is only you could do a good 5-colour cartouche and trial crazy deck if you want.
Yeah, that's fun.
They remind me a bit more like the ordeals though from Theros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like trials. Do this for the gods.
Yeah.
But these will be fun.
Yeah.
They're not constructed playable.
No.
Just the little, like, in terms of cheap and limited playable, I just like the little 1-mana ones, like the Cartouche Solidarity, just giving anything +1/+1 first strike and another thing, which obviously is this creature token and possibly bouncing a trial. That seems just really solid mana-wise.
Yeah.
I don't want to play 3 mana for the green or black one, but 1 mana seems nice.
No, absolutely. Which is why I wanted to mention them, because I think for limited, these are going to be giving you really good value most of the time.
Yes. Yeah. I really like the cycling cards as well. The uncommon cycling cards, so they do a thing, and then if you cycle them, they do another thing. A bit like in Shards, or whatever set after Shards it was, where you get another thing if you cycled them differently.
Yeah.
So the white ones gain 6 life. If you cycle for 2, then you get 2 life instead. The one I'm looking at, and probably Simon as well, is the Stir the Sands one. So 6 mana makes 3 zombies, or if you cycle it for 4 mana, you get 1 zombie instead.
I did see it. I wasn't too excited about it, I must admit.
But now that you know that they come in untapped, and you can create zombies at instant speed.
The interesting one I really like is the 4 mana is not on that line, it's a common. Hieroglyphic Illumination, so it's 4 mana for basically a divination, you draw 2 cards, which doesn't seem very good. But you can cycle it for 1 blue mana to draw a card. So I like the flexibility, and also you need to remember that cycling is instant speed. So I think for blue, having the ability to draw 2 cards or draw 1 at instant speed is quite I don't know, interesting. I don't think it'll see play, but it's interesting from a design point of view, I think.
Definitely. On that note, with blue, do you think Censor is going to be constructed playable? So it's 2 mana, counter target spell unless you can pay one, unless its controller pays 1, but you can cycle it for 1 blue.
I don't think 1 is strong enough. If it was 2, maybe, but I don't think 1 is going to do enough.
Even though you can
any play, like spell pierce is 2, isn't it? I don't think I've seen any counter unless they pay 1 effects for quite a while.
No, I agree, but I was just wondering, because it's got cycling, so if you get to a point where you draw this and it would be complete garbage, you at least can replace it. Would that make it good enough, or is this just still not quite there?
I'd say it's like 1.5 cards that way. I think it needs to be 2. If it was double blue and then just counter unless they pay 2, then that seems quite good. But I don't know, maybe.
Fair enough.
Going back to the cycling, because there's a lot of older cards that had cycling alternatives, like when you cycle this card, also have like all creatures get -2, -2. There's some more powerful abilities on other cycling cards, older ones. Did anyone look at new perspectives? 5 colourless, 1 blue, so 6 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. As long as you have 7 or more cards in hand, you may cycle cards for 0.
Oh, that one, yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting with cards that have alternative cycle, not just discard cards, you've got alternative stuff as well. But if you got that out and then just had loads of cycle cards in hand, then you got to pay loads of stuff for free. I'd have to look into what the old cycle stuff does though. And also, it's another weird one, just one where you have to have 7 cards in hand, or more like the god, but you get to draw 3 cards straight away off of it.
Yeah.
It's 6 mana, so it's just more for more tabletop fun. It's more than anything. But I thought that was interesting. I wanted to look into that more.
I'm sure you could do some pretty broken stuff with it.
Yeah. And by looking into that more, I mean, I don't have time. I want to see what other people do.
I like Drake Haven on the topic of cycling. So 3 mana enchantment.
Nice.
Yeah. Pay 1, you get a 2/2 Drake every time you cycle, or discard a card.
Yeah. So I like that most of them are cycle or discard. I don't know why it has to say that. I didn't say discard, but I don't know. My point is, I don't know why they haven't worded it just whenever you discard a card. The cycle bit seems a bit irrelevant, unless it's just trying to be clear for new players. I don't know.
Quite possibly that one, because I know they did that with the new improvised stuff, didn't they? Which is better for new players, because then there's no questions, isn't there? Just read it and go, oh yeah.
All of the cards I see with cycling in front of me all have the reminder text off them as well. But
that's true. Maybe it's just to really help them, help new players.
No problem.
But going back to what you guys were saying about aggro, I remember a little while ago there was a Boros tokens deck with cards like Reckless Bushwhacker and the Servo card, which is a sorcery that makes 2/1/1 servos.
Interesting.
And there is a Boros card in this set coming out called Honoured Crop Captain, a human warrior for Boros colours, so 1 red, 1 white. Whenever Crop Captain attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+0 till end of turn. I mean, it's very all-in, kind of make tokens, make creatures, attack. But I mean, it's Boros, isn't it? Really. I mean, it would pair nicely with what you were saying before with Throne of the God Pharaoh. I mean, if you're making a deck that just spews out 1/1s and it's just beating face, then all of this would be great.
I quite like Weaver of Currents, the green-blue ones. So it's 3 mana 2/2. You can tap for double colourless. That seems quite powerful for a mana ramp, particularly if you can untap it.
Oh, 2 colours, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've got cards that make 2 colourless before, but they're normally like 4, at least 5 mana normally, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, this is nice.
Any listeners out there that are new players and might be attending their first pre-release next weekend, a good idea to see what the different colour pairings are attempting for you to do. What they want you to be doing is to look at the gold cards. Maybe give you a good indication of what you should be doing if you're in those colours.
Yeah, that's true.
So red white is tokens, so you can get the +1 ability. Red green, trample big creatures. Blue black, shadow visor is all about cycling.
Green black, you've got -1/-1 counters, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Blue white in barb. So it's always a good idea for every set. And you're thinking, I should be going 2 colours, not just 1. Look at what the coloured cards do. The gold cards, they'll give you a good indication of what you should be doing, unless for some reason you think black red Minotaurs is a thing. But don't fall for that though.
Were there any other of the one card that I really liked in blue, which I think will definitely see standard play? I'd be very surprised if it doesn't. Is the new draw spell at instant speed that doesn't cycle?
Pull from tomorrow.
Pull from tomorrow. So it's double blue and X instant speed.
Yes.
Draw X cards and then discard a card.
Although it obviously doesn't gain new life, I think it's rare. they said, and you'd have to do a gather research to confirm this, they were saying that every draw spell ever that had an X in the cost, like this one does, has always been 3 and then X, while this is the only one with 2 and then X. I think there's like 2 or 3 instant X draw spells, like Sphinx's Rev and some other stuff, but they've always got like 3 in front of the X, and this was unique in that it had 2 and then the X, so you could make it a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very pushed because I don't think the discarding a card is that much of a drawback.
No, particularly if you're doing it for big numbers.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone who's ever cast the Sphinx's Revelation knows that, you know, there is going to be at least one card in there that you're like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely going to make appearances.
It's interesting as well. I mean, instant card draw is always an interesting concept anyway, but I don't think it's ever going to happen in Standard. But say if, you know, you have Kefnet the Mindful and they're like, oh, attack, you've only got that and you can't block with it. You got instant speed, draw some cards, then block with it. You know, you can do stuff like that. Seems quite interesting. Or anything else that trades off of having lots of cards.
Yeah, that's a nice little trick.
Another card that I think is quite nice, going to fit into sort of mono green devotion strategies in Modern, potentially, is Harvest Season. Which is search your library for up to X basic land cards where X is the number of tapped creatures you control and put those cards into the battlefield tapped.
That's quite a broken card.
Yeah.
Well, the final zombie card I'm excited about is Plague Belcher.
Oh, that card looks good.
Oh, yeah, that's super good.
2 colourless, 1 black, 5/4 with Menace.
Yeah.
When Plague Belcher enters the battlefield, put 2 -1 counters on target creature you control. Any creature, doesn't have to be itself. Whenever another zombie you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. That's going straight into my commander deck. And I believe Luke is designing some sort of zombie standard deck as well.
Yes. I have thrown together a little deck. I've gone Esper colours. It's something I'm going to be putting a little video out on my YouTube channel. I will hopefully be able to put a link to it in the little notes on the podcast site as well. Essentially uses a lot of the cards we were sort of talking about before. So you've got the Wayward Servant in there, Lord of the Accursed, Plague Belchers, and then it also has, I'm not going to go over the full deck list here because it will be, let's say something I can put in the link below, but so you've got all those cards which effectively cause lots of drain life effects, and then you have cards like Dread Wanderer, Relentless Dead, and Prized Amalgam, so that you can return cards back in, get multiple uses out of your drain effects. And Diagraph Colossus, whilst not a particularly renowned card or doing very much in Standard at the moment, I'd be interested to try him out because every time you cast a zombie, you get a zombie, so you're getting 2 lots of drain off of.
Diagraph Colossus is an awesome card.
I'm sure in Commander it's hilarious.
In my modern deck, my Commander deck, I'll play it whenever I can.
With the drain effects, it's really nice in here. Drain your opponent, create lots of zombies, and then do that again with bringing them back from the dead. So,
I think there's one zombie as well we're forgetting about, which is the common white zombie called Fanbearer.
Oh, yeah.
Holding a lovely feathery fan who's a 1/2 and can tap creatures.
I don't know how I feel with zombies in white. There are some zombies in white already, but it's usually white and black.
Yeah, I'm just going to go straight in that deck with the whenever a zombie you control dies, it drains the opponent.
I like it how they've done the artwork for them. They're sort of like mummy servants.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like from the movie The Mummy or something like that, you know. But they're not zombies.
Nice.
Pre-release weekend full of your mummy jokes.
Yeah, that blinding one that's going to be annoying.
Yep, instant speed zombies,
Yeah.
and they're not taps. It's going to be good.
Okay, so is there any other?
But we can't finish without, of course, mentioning that Magma Spray is back.
Oh yeah.
But have you seen the flavour text for it? It's my best bit.
Oh, I've not read that.
It's a quote from the Hebe Initiative of Arn Crop. Ashes can't be embalmed. It's just like some embalming apprentice just not very happy about these volcanoes appearing. It's not a pyramid. Well, these ashes.
There's way more cycling and way more exert creatures, but I think suffice to say they're definitely going to be appearing in Standard in some way, even if it's just in the beginning bit, people testing out exert. I think there's definitely potential there for some aggressive decks with it, and I certainly want to test out exert with Always Watching as well, so I think that's pretty nasty.
Yeah, I'm setting out of Always Watching already.
Yeah,
people are picking them up. I'm very excited for the new Standard format, which what new sets should do, really. Rejuvenate everyone's interest in what's going on. I don't know what will happen with it. All I hear is little snippets from other people or reading bits online. Until you have the first pro tour, you never know what the environment's going to look like and how it's all going to shape together, which is what I love the most about new sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a very packed Standard environment as well, because they kept mucking around with the rotation.
Yeah.
until October, we've got what have we got? We've got Battle for Zendikar,
Shadows,
Kaladesh, and so we've got 4 complete blocks. I know they're only 2 each, but it's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah.
It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 rather than 5, 6, 5, 6 like we thought.
Yeah. So 8 sets in standard after in a fortnight's time. 8 sets in standard, so lots of options.
Yeah, that's a big card pool.
Hopefully we just don't get loads of Gideon decks. Stupid Gideon. Where's a Johnny?
Okay then, so that is it for Amonkhet spoilers and us. So if you enjoyed what you heard today, we are on Facebook, or you can find us there. Search up Glimmer of Genius, leave a comment, let us know what you think. We're also at glimmerofgenius.podbean.com, where you can download our other episodes as well. Please do leave some feedback, let us know what you think. In the meantime, thanks for listening and stay tuned for more.
Bye.
Bye.